Hi, True Crime Grapevine fans. It's me, Patty Lee, your true crime dyslexic armchair detective, here for a nightly nightcap. If you're new to my channel, hi. I am trying to do these nightly nightcaps, although I missed the last two nights because I had a family emergency. If you watched my partner in crime, Skelly's update last night, you will be aware that I had to be gone the last two nights due to helping out. So, but we're back. I have read the affidavit. I downloaded it in the hospital while I was waiting for my family member to finish going through this procedure that took 2 days and lots of drug interactions and some drug psychosis after effects. It was very interesting. Tonight we have another hot toddy, tea with a little whiskey because it's winter. I still got my little sparkly tumbler. So everybody, get your nightcap, and I'm toasting this night to Dylan, or as she's known in the affidavit as DM, because she's brave and she went through something that none of us could ever imagine going through. And if you want to know why the police didn't talk about the 911 call and explain everything about what was happening, it's because of what's happening on the interwebs right now. So take a sip. Mm. This is going to be a little quick because I'm still getting my act together after being at my family member's home all day. But so again, if you're new, what my channel tries to do is, unlike many YouTubers, I just watch all other YouTubers, and then I kind of let you know what they're all saying so that you can keep up with what's on the interwebs without having to watch everything like I do, because it really does take hours. Even in the hospital, I was scrolling through Twitter. I was downloading documents. I was looking and watching a lot of my favorite YouTubers' live shows. And we'll talk more about that later. So I'm just going to give you the biggest update regarding what was in the affidavit was what the roommate said. So it cleared up one thing, where we all wondered about that second floor, third, it was called bedroom 3. That was the room that the sixth roommate had rented, but then didn't go through for some reason and didn't even move in. They had left in before the semester started, I believed, or as the semester started. And so it was conjectured, hey, did one of the other roommates move into that third room, or was that third room empty? And maybe that's where the dog was put. We weren't sure. We knew there were two bedrooms on the, I'm going to call it basement, underground level, that first level where they had the two windows that you could see out into the parking area, kind of the ones that went into the hill, the original part of the 1122 King Road residence, because we know then it was added onto. And so that first level was older and it was cinder block. There were two bedrooms down there and a laundry room. And then there's this, that's where the front door was with the punch key. Remember, and when we first heard about this crime, and it was been brought up a couple times, that the front door maybe was seen open by a passerby. I don't think the police ever talked about it, but everybody else did. That a neighbor had been running or walking his or her dog and saw the door open about 8:30. And then we know the 911 call wasn't made until almost noon. So there's those two bedrooms down there, and then that large staircase that goes up into where the living room area was, and that's the second floor. And that second floor, on that living area, you go down the hallway, and then to the far side there's a bathroom, and then down that hallway was Santa's room. If you went, there was a step up, because this is where the house was rebuilt. There was a step up into the kitchen area directly. If you're thinking of the front of the house, directly to the left would be the third bedroom, which we didn't know anybody was in. And then you make a little jog. You could either go, then there's that bedroom, like just a little bit to the left, the bedroom, and then up a staircase to the third floor. On the other side was, you made that step up and you turned right and made a little jog into the kitchen area. which then had that big glass sliding door. Okay. Why does this all matter with regards to Dylan, the roommate? Well, she did move into that middle floor, that second floor bedroom that we didn't know where, we thought maybe she was on the ground floor. So no, she had moved out of the ground floor and was up on the second floor, towards the back area. What do we know that happened, and why am I going to bring up the door? Okay, so here's the things we learned that she heard and was aware that there was a food delivery at 4:00. So Xana got a DoorDash or whatever she used to get food brought to the house at 4 and picked it up. And Dylan sort of thinks she heard that. Then she heard weird noises soon after, like a couple minutes later, I guess. She thought there was a thud noise and a scuffling, and the dog was barking, and she thought, oh, like is Kaylee playing with her dog? Like, that's what it sounded like to her. So it was on the Survivor podcast. There was a psychologist, I think her name was Dr. Sophie. She mentioned something that I have a background in educational psychology, that I know to be research based and accurate, as far as we know right now, is true. When you hear something, your brain goes to the most familiar schema idea that you would think that could be. So she's hearing barking and moving around. So to her, that sounds like Kaylee playing with her dog, even though it's 4 a.m. But they went out. Who knows what she might be doing, right? Playing with Murphy upstairs. We now know that the killer entered sometime right after between like 4:15, entered the home. We always thought it has been conjectured that the killer came in through the sliding glass doors. Now, from Dylan's recollection, she heard that. She had peeked out her head, like looking up those stairs, like, what the hell? Okay. Closed the door, went back in her room. Then, not soon after that, she hears what she thinks is Xana, like, making noise or whimpering, like some noise. She opens the door again, like, what the hell was that? And she hears she initially heard somebody say, I'm sorry. So when she heard the dog noises, whatever, she opens the door and she hears what she thinks, we're not sure who it really was, as Kaylee upstairs say, I think someone's here. Okay. But again, we know this house had people entering and whatever. She shuts the door. Then she hears crying. She opens the door again and she hears somebody say something to the effect of, it's okay. I'm here to help you, which is weird. And then she shuts the door again and then hears more crying. Then goes to open her door. And it sounds like if her lights were off and she was standing in a darkened doorway, maybe the person didn't see her, but she describes a man walking past her, dressed all in black, 5'8", about 5'10" or taller. So a tallish man, athletic build, but not muscular. So skinny, had a mask covering all the way across, their face, in a hood, like, so all covered up, walked. So you have to remember how the house is built. Walking towards her, which means like walked up that step, but instead of continuing to go up the stairs, right, continued to go into the kitchen and out those 2 sliding glass doors. And then it's reported that she was frozen in fear, then went in her room and locked the door. Now, everybody, the big hubbub is, oh my God, why didn't she call 911? How could she just go lock her door and go back to sleep, or whatever they're assuming? Now, here's where it happens. This is what I think is most likely. I think she was shocked. I think she went into a room, shut the door, if she didn't first go down the hallway or go upstairs. I think at some point she either was I think she saw what happened. And after that, I think she may have become catatonic. Um, I tweeted about it. There's a specific type of catatonia, where it's basically in response to a shock and you shut down completely. You can maybe even walk, but you don't speak normally. If somebody speaks to you, you might just repeat it back, or you might not say anything. It might be like you're in a trance. You might not be able to move. It has all different symptoms. But do you remember the door being open? I'm wondering if she went back into her room scared, maybe even waited until the sun came up. But at some point, the person is gone. She doesn't hear any more noises. So she's listening. She's listening. She's listening. And then maybe especially when the sun starts to come up, she's like, okay, I'm just gonna see and make sure, like, find out what the hell that was. And she either snuck up the stairs or she went down the hall to Xana's room. And Xana supposed, well, as according to the affidavit, Xana was laying on the floor and in her bedroom, and her and Ethan was in the bed. Xana was also known to be on TikTok at about 4:15, which would be about when the person may have been going into a room saying, I'm here to help you. All right. If Dylan did see all of that, it definitely could make her so like have PTSD to the point where at that point, if it was in the morning and she walked downstairs, like, and she was just like, I've got to get, like her brain would be on autopilot, must get out of house. She goes, she sees that and goes directly downstairs. Maybe she was the person who opened the door and then stood there, like not knowing if it is it safe to go outside? What do I do? What do I do? I'm stuck, and just got more and more like stuck. The person sees the door just open. That could have woken up the other roommate eventually, the cold air just flowing in. And when that roommate wakes up, she sees her other roommate unresponsive. Dylan, 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 what are you doing? Why are you just standing there? Why is the door open? What's wrong? We don't know. Did Dylan touch anybody? Did she even have maybe blood on her hands? And she's just standing there. And then the other roommate starts screaming for help. I mean, this is all conjecture, because before I thought maybe somebody made it into the living room, and the other two roommates were in the basement and could, like, the ground floor, and could see up the stairs. I don't think, I mean, obviously that wasn't accurate. Again, all speculation. I am just putting the pieces together with when people say, why didn't she call 911? She either went into her room and hid in her closet and was freaked the F out, or she actually did unfreeze and maybe not go right into also, the affidavit isn't all the police know. They only put enough in there to get the arrest. This is the probable cause affidavit. This isn't the full indictment where they say like everything. So we don't know what they left out. They obviously didn't say anything about the other surviving roommates even being there. They're trying to protect not only the information that, okay, somebody saw the killer, but they didn't want to tell anybody anything because it protects the witness from like what's happening now. So that's what I think. I also think the thud that was heard. It was also heard on an outdoor camera of a nearby house, that there was like this thud. There was a cry. There was crying, and there was the dog barking. So that was corroborated by really close next door evidence. I wonder if whoever did this, the suspect, we'll just say, um, didn't enter on the third floor by going up the hill, getting a number of people have mentioned looking from that dark parking lot, the hill came really close. Chris McDonough from the interview room mentioned that he saw these cinder blocks next to their outdoor fire, it was not fire pit, like their outdoor barbecue, just one that you start with actual like It's not a plug-in one, it's not a fancy one, it was, like, not a gas-powered one, just ones you put the coals in, and he was like, it doesn't look like you'd sit there." Was somebody trying to he thought maybe stand on it to look into a window nearby, or I think if you're already about 6 feet tall and you have that hill right there, maybe the person climbed up on it, and because there were scrapes on the edge of the 3rd floor that somebody on an ICAD saw, stream pointed out, and the pictures you could go around and sort of see that looked like there was more deteriorated than the rest of that 3rd floor. Really, even if they did lock up the rest of the house, Kaylee had moved out of that 3rd floor bedroom. Did she remember to I mean, were they locking that all the time? It was up on the 3rd floor deck. Why would you expect anybody to get in up there? And that was the room that the dog was found in. That was where the dog was probably barking. So did he enter there? The dog starts barking, and he sort of plays with the dog and then shuts that door, goes about what he's going to do next. And did Dylan end up opening the front door and in a stupor just stand there until her other roommate woke up? And was Dylan the unresponsive roommate that they were referring to when the 911 we still haven't heard the 911 call. So again, there's got to be a reason for that. There's probably more information still that they don't want completely out. But was she the unresponsive roommate? I think so. So that is some of the important things from the affidavit that refer to what's happening now on all the interwebs, which is a lot of people are making comments about, well, isn't it weird that she didn't respond? No, it's not weird because most people don't see their roommates slaughtered. It would definitely put you in a state of shock for hours. It would. And I definitely think she heard somebody crying. I think the part that was left out was she went and checked at some point, whether it was when the sun came up, and or maybe she heard more that we don't know about, but she definitely was awake and checking on things and knew something went down. And when you hear your roommate crying, she either went upstairs or went I think she checked on Xana, and I think she saw, and I think that just threw her whole like, that is my supposition. Hey, you could like and subscribe to this little stream and put what you think down below. That would be great. I will talk more about there was a lot of information in the affidavit about, where Brian's car was, how he had traveled in the area at and it always seemed to be like late night hours or early morning hours. I am just hoping there has been scuttlebutt all over the internet that his sister lived in the area. I hope his sister didn't live on that street or in the area so that he could claim, "Oh, I went to visit her. It was always late at night because she's like nervous or like I don't, you know what I mean? She asked me to drive by her house to check things out." Some weird ass excuse. But if he doesn't know anybody in that area, then it's really weird, right? That would be good. There were some defense attorneys talking about, though, oh, well, cell tower coverage sometimes can be 10 miles out. It's not perfect. That wouldn't be great. I just hope he has no excuse for being in Moscow a lot, knowing somebody specifically. That would make things, we don't want a circumstantial case. We want him caught if he is the suspect, right? And he is only a suspect now. It's important to say, like, this is my edutainment, edutainment. Like, I'm trying to be sort of educating you on what everybody's saying and for how I understand things from an educational psychologist point of view, but also, you just be entertaining, catch you up on what everybody's saying, give you the opportunity to say what you want to say. But I'm not saying that this just because he's a suspect, just because they've found that, yes, he was in the area. Yes, he touched there was a knife sheath of a K-bar left near Maddie upstairs. So Steve Congaves was correct. According to the affidavit, the girls, yes, they were in Maddie's bedroom and they were together. Next to Maddie, there was found this knife sheath that covered a knife, that you would like wear on your belt buckle, and DNA matching, very similar enough to Brian, was found on the buckle, like where you would, you know, unbuckle it. Now, again, they need the knife because everybody's like, he made this novice mistake. He dropped this knife sheath. I don't like that that was dropped because it seems like a really big, stupid mistake. And I do think he's smart. And I hope this isn't some weird, I don't know. I don't like that that was the only place they found his DNA. Hopefully, they found it other places. And hopefully, now that he's been arrested and they had other warrants, they find the actual weapon. That would make me feel a lot better. I don't want to hear him say, oh, well, I looked I looked at a store in Pullman, and yeah, I was like looking at it, trying it on. I just didn't buy it. Guess someone else did. We don't need that, right? That puts it into like circumstantial that because touch DNA, you can touch something and leave DNA, that kind of DNA for a long time. So we don't want that he could have seen it. We want like that to be directly related to him. We want his dad to be, to have been in the Marine Corps, and that was his dad's knife from Pennsylvania, and it relates directly to him. End of story. So that's some of the important parts of the affidavit. The biggest thing is that people are sort of being very rude to Dylan online about why did she wait so long? Why did she wait so long? That doesn't make any sense. If you know physiology, if you know stress response, it is definitely normal. Also, historically, there have been at least 2 cases where people have heard somebody being like in a mass murder situation, and the person hides for hours. It happened in the Richard Speck case. Look that up, Speck. It was in 1966, I believe. He was a man in Chicago who went into a nursing school and was it's a horrific crime. But there was one nurse who he was somebody came home and he attacked them, and he had these nurses separated into different rooms where he's taking them out one by one, telling the other ones like, don't worry. But the one woman hid, and she hid all night long, and she didn't come out until morning. So and that happened like at 11 in the at evening, and this happened to Dylan at 4 a.m. So hiding for hours and afraid to come out, it's been done before. This isn't abnormal. The situation is abnormal for her to have been in, but her response was very normal for someone who was, I forget if she is 20 or 21, but a young woman who isn't in any warlike situations or has seen death like that. I am telling you, complete normal reaction. Completely. All right. The other things, and I'll talk more about this tomorrow, or maybe I'll make an actual video to catch up on some cases. The Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell case, there's been more filings. Chad's lawyer is trying to get an extension. And as someone who's been in school and asked for a lot of extensions, I will tell you, he's had over 2 years. His client has never been in any sort of institution where he couldn't like maybe speak to him all the time and there was a large breaks. No, he had plenty of time to get this case together. I think Judge Boyce is going to tell John Pryor he can go pound sand. Like, no, dude. He already has responded to John Pryor's. He wrote something like it was too soon to get his questions in for the jury thing. And Judge Boyce already responded, look, it's the courts. The court is actually responsible for a fair voir dire, which is the jury questionnaire, like so that you can question jurors to make sure. And ultimately, the court will make sure that those questions, they ask attorneys like, please turn them in. And in this case, it was by January 9th. And John Pryor, he's always trying to, I personally think he's trying to get a separation of the case. He wants it severed. So he's dragging his feet, always asking, no, we need more time. No, you just don't want Chad to be sealed forever with Lori and Till death do they well, actually, in the Mormon religion, no, they're sealed for all of eternity, and it seems in this court case they will too. There were other filings by Lori's attorneys regarding, again, they don't like the death penalty. Of course not. They don't think her case warrants the death penalty because it's not heinous enough. Okay. And there was some paper that Eric, Big E, he is docket at Chasing Papers 89 on Twitter. You must follow him. He's got all the information. But there was like some alibi papers that Lori's trying to say, like, you can't, I don't know. Like, basically, when Tylee and JJ were killed, it was at her brother's house and she wasn't there. She was with these other people. She has an alibi. And I'm like, girl, yeah, but your kids disappeared and you didn't say anything about it. What you thought you're 7, like, she's gonna claim whatever. Lori Daybell, this is my personal opinion. She tires me out. But we will find out more. I don't think any of that's going anywhere. They will go to trial, and I hope it is. I think it's April. And we also have the Murdaugh case coming up this January, like now, this month. And I'll talk more about that. And I'm sorry I was gone for 2 nights. And everybody drink because it's been a day. I'm still trying to figure out how to get these. I'm trying to keep them below a certain number so they're not too long, but bring you accurate information. If you have any suggestions on like how you'd like me to do this better, let me know. Otherwise, Surviving the Survivor and Unsolved No More with Ken Maines are 2 channels that have had really great guests on lately. And the interview room had on Ann Burgess, who is the main, the woman from Mindhunters. It was her that inspired the character. Who else was with them? And Gary Mercado and Victor Petraeus. I'm not saying that right. That you must go watch that. It is a must watch episode of the interview room because they explained a lot of the goings on in what they are guessing about this case, like surmising from what they know. And it is really, really fantastic. All right, guys. So hopefully I will be able to sleep tonight. I still have to go do some more family work tomorrow, but I'll try to bring you more. But that's what's on the interwebs right now. The main case is still the Idaho 4, and people are really dunking on Dylan. And I want you all to Google this. It's akinetic catatonia. Google it, please. And if you follow me on Twitter, I'm at Trish Lee because my whole name's Patricia. I'm Patty Lee. I'm Trish Lee. I'm both of them. It's Trish Lee at Crazy Mama 007. Go check out my post because I was posting about the case, especially about what I believe Dylan may have experienced psychologically and medically and why it completely makes sense. So anyways, let's give her some grace. She is an amazing person to even talk about it. I'm assuming she had to probably be medicated and brought out of this and speak to a psychologist before the police could even get her statement. And she was able to vocalize this. So let's just be easy on that. I don't think she has nothing to do with it. And her behavior is completely typical given the context. That it's really important psychologically and behaviorally when we talk about people to consider the context. All right, so let's hope they have all the information. They have a lot more that they didn't put in this probable cause, but let's hope if Brian is the person, he pleads guilty, like his mentor, who I think he considers a role model, BTK, who did, once he was caught, he just told it all. He didn't go to trial. That would be great for the families. Anyways, you have a great weekend. And, if you see this, it would be great if you like and subscribe. It's free. And otherwise, though, take care, lock your doors, right? And if you live in a house with a bunch of people, lock your bedroom doors. And be thankful that this didn't happen to you and your family. It's pretty awful. That girl needs our thoughts and prayers or good vibes or whatever you send out. Please don't be nasty to her on the interwebs, okay? All right. Bye.